Okay there. So moving on through Daniel, this is Daniel chapter 5, all right? Now, Nebuchadnezzar had a son, Belshazzar. So Belshazzar one night is having a big party at the palace, and he brings everybody in, and they're having a big party or whatever, and he says, hey, go get all the gold and the silver things from the temple that we stole everything out of in Israel. So go get all that stuff and bring it here. We're going to drink wine out of that, and we're going to have a big party, and we're going to basically desecrate it and show that, we're better than you. And so they do. And they go and they get it, and they're all getting drunk out of the holy, sacred things of God, okay? Kind of throwing it in God's face, if you will. And while they're doing this, a hand appears, a huge hand appears and writes on the wall. This is where the term, you can see the writing on the wall, came from, okay? Writes on the wall, he is terrified. The king, Belshazzar, is terrified to the point where his legs are shaking and his knees are knocking, is what it says, okay? And then he's like, anybody who can tell me what that writing on that wall says, I will make sure they're clothed in purple and put a gold chain around their neck. And everybody's like, I don't know. And then the queen walks in and she says, Daniel can do this. Remember, Daniel has been here for a very long time. He helped our dad, he helped your dad, and he can help you. So bring him in. Daniel comes in and Belshazzar says, look, I'll clothe you in purple and put the gold chain around your neck. And Daniel says, tell you what, keep your gifts, give them to somebody else. I don't even care. I'll tell you what the writing on the wall says. And he goes, and I'll tell you why it says this. He goes, because you have desecrated what is holy. You have taken what is God's and you have desecrated it. Even though you watched what happened to your dad, even though you watched and he was Nebuchadnezzar was out there like a wild beast for 7 years, and you watched that and you watched him restored, and you watched the miracles that happened to your dad, and still you treat God with contempt like this. So I'll tell you what the writing on the wall says. It says, God has numbered your days and your reign is over. And he says, you have been weighed on the scales and been found wanting. And your kingdom will be handed over to other people. That's the paraphrase. And he's like, I'm going to clothe you in purple and put a gold chain around you anyway. I'm really sorry. And that night, he was slain. He was murdered. And other people took his kingdom. But God was like, nah, you think you're going to do that to me? You think after all I've done for you and your family and everything, you're going to come and you're going to mock me? Because the Bible says God is not mocked. And we do that sometimes. We throw our fist up in the air, we throw our finger up in the air, and like, what are you going to do about it? And God's like, what? You want to have this fight? I wouldn't. I don't want to have that fight. You think I want to fight with the creator of the universe? That's a dumb move. That right there's a dumb move, buddy. And that very night, he was terrified, he was weighed in the scales, and he was found wanting. You do not want that in your life, I promise you. When you want to be weighed in that scale, look, I know I'm going to be found wanting. If you put me on there, you're like, here's all the good deeds you've done, and here's all the bad deeds you've done. I'm like, meow. And I'm like, the only way that we have anything is because Jesus' blood, what that does, because of his sacrifice, when God looks at us, he does not see our sin. He does not see all of our wickedness because Jesus paid the price for that. Instead, he sees the righteousness of Christ. And that is our only hope. But still, if you're like, I think I'm going to be cocky to God, you might want to rethink that one. Just saying.